Good morning. We have another exciting week ahead of us this Monday morning, and I'm here to take you through what has happened through the course of last week as well as how markets fared on Friday. Now, the US markets were disappointed by US non-farm jobs data which came out on Friday. The non-farm payrolls increased by only 235,000, which was much below predictions of around 720,000, which was what was projected by economists surveyed by the Dow Jones. This may impact taper timeline, as was told to us in the Federal Reserve Chairman's speech at Jackson Hole a couple of weeks back. Now, this led to the Dow and the S&P performing poorly on Friday, while the Nasdaq though continued to gain, which limited the losses for US indices. The Dow Jones declined around 1/5%, posting a loss in 4 out of 5 trading sessions now ending Friday. And this also meant that the Dow declined 1/4% in trade during the course of last week. The S&P 500 was absolutely flat and was down around 3 basis points. However, the S&P also snapped a 2-day gaining streak, but it still managed to gain over 0.5% in trade over the course of last week. Now, this is a second consecutive weekly gain for the S&P 500. Also, the Nasdaq continued to go from strength to strength. So it gained a third day and was up around 1/5% to end the week at a record high for a third day in a row. And it has been up around 1.5%, over 1.5% in trade last week itself. This is the second weekly gain for the Nasdaq. The EU, European markets ended the week in red given the US non-farm data came in negative. The FTSE declined around 1/3% and snapped its 2-day gaining streak and was down around 14 basis points over the course of last week. Coming to the CAC 40 index declined over 1%, which is the most since the 19th of August, and advanced around 12 basis points over the course of last week. The DAX also declined over 1/3% in quite a red week for the DAX, and it closed lower in 2 out of the last 3 weeks and has been down almost 0.5% over the course of last week. The Stock 600 was also down more than 0.5%, breaking a 2-day streak, closing in green both on Wednesday and Thursday, but was down on Friday and was up around 3/4% over the course of the week. Moving on to Asia, the Nikkei gained 2% on Friday and continued its excellent week, all green for the Nikkei over the course of the week last week, and the Nikkei has been up over 5%, almost 5.5% in a second week of gains in a row for the Japanese index. The Shanghai was down around 0.43% on Friday, which meant that it was the first red for the Shanghai in 5 consecutive trading sessions in green. The Shanghai has also been in green in 3 out of the last 4 weeks and was up around 3.25% during the course of last week. The Hang Seng was down again 3/4% after 4 days in green, so spent Monday to Thursday in green and was down on Friday, and has been up overall during the week, up around 2%. The Kospi 2 was up 3/4%, reversing some of last week's losses, due to an increase in the interest rates by the South Korean central bank. The ASX 200 was up around 0.5% and up around 2% overall last week. In today's open, Asian markets opened mixed, with the Nikkei opening around 1/3% up, the ASX200 down over 1%, and the Kospi down around 1/5%. Commodities on Friday looked good, with the London Metal Index gaining for a second day and a week in a row. The London Metal Index for aluminium gained 1% on Friday and posted around a 3% weekly gain. Copper continued to gain. Gold gained as well. Gold currently stands at around $1830 an ounce. The money market ended the week by the dollar declining 6 days in a row and trading at its lowest level over the last month or so. The dollar index continued to decline around 0.5% in each of the last 2 weeks, and the US 10-year yields currently stand at around 1.325%. In crypto, the Bitcoin gained for a third day in a row on Friday and trades above the US $50,000 mark and is set for its 8th straight weekly gain, with Bitcoin now up over 3% as on today morning, and is at roughly the 51,750 levels. That's all with regard to the stock taking across last week as well as on Friday.